idea of coming out of Blink-182 was like, it was insurmountable. There's no way in my mind that I was gonna be able to create another rock band that could ever compete or be anything close to what Blink was, because Blink was such a cultural kind of phenomenon. So Angels and Airwaves was like, okay, how do we take a theme about the human race and communicate those like in a motion picture and on an album and in a book and all these different, then it became like an art project. The band was simply one branch of the tree. But what came out of that, building my company To the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, we really are building an aerospace company. We really are doing things that deal with, access into space and what's out there and the science and engineering involved, and telling the stories about things that are out there and their interaction with this planet and with people. And I'm really living what I was preaching back then. I'm really doing it. I didn't just sing about space. I'm building a company that really, brings all of that out there to everybody's mind and hopefully to their experience too. A lot of people ask me, like, how do you walk in from going from stage into speaking with people from the Central Intelligence Agency or the Department of Defense or one of the world's biggest aerospace companies? But the thing that really prepared me was I kind of really already felt anything was possible. When Blink got gigantic, being a part of that ride, you're already kind of going, oh my God, anything can happen, because I was living in my parents' house in a garage is where my room was. So you go from living in the garage to something like that, you kind of already open the door and go, well, I guess anything could happen because it happened to me. I kind of already realized that there aren't barriers on really ambitious, big ideas. The next thing that prepared me for it was I was an entrepreneur already. So I've already been in thousands of meetings with people that knew a lot more than me, that were a lot more professional and a lot smarter. And I've already embarrassed myself thousands of times going in and pitching my company and not knowing any of my shit and having a lot of failures. I was already aware of how to hold myself, and it always boils down to being humble and being very honest about what you know and what you don't know, but honest about what you're trying to achieve. And those types of things are what made me start and earn trust of people, and then eventually create a giant mechanism to do something that's never been done. To this day, I remain very much out of my league. I remember some of the first meetings I had, my heart would be beating so fast. I have been in secure facilities, that are, the codes and the alarms and the guns and all that shit to get into there, and they lock you in and they're airtight, and that's where they talk about all the crazy stuff they do. And I have been in those rooms, and I have been trying to, okay, say smart words. Don't say stupid things right now. Don't be conspiratorial. Don't just say you know something because you read it on the internet. Having those types of meetings where I really, really felt out of my element, to now I can go into a place like that and hold my ground pretty well, and feel like I have somewhat of a right to be there. The importance of this subject, as important if not more important than when they discovered nuclear power or they sequenced the genome, DNA, or fossil fuels, we found out how to build an engine, or any major world-changing subject, this is the king daddy of all of them. The technology, the belief systems, what it means to where we're going and who we are, and I've set myself up to be on the tip of that spear. But that's not something you can just tell everybody. So this kind of a company at this stage of my life is like, oh my God, it's like a blend of all the things I love. Producing films, directing films, and writing novels, and working on aerospace, working in science, working at the government, and still playing music. Angels and Airwaves is recording right now. Like, we're a tiny company trying to do basically what 10 companies would do, and trying to get the public involved and aware and be a part of it along the way. It's super, super ambitious, ridiculously difficult, but so insanely rewarding. If you look at what I've done and who I am, and I honestly feel like I've been molded to do this, but it doesn't mean it's not like the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It feels harder than breaking a giant rock band. I just know that I'm supposed to be here. I just know it with every ounce of my being that I'm doing exactly what I was meant to do. Yeah, I had a really, difficult year. A lot of things came into my life this past year. And starting the company and everything, it's been really stressful. And when I got into riding bikes in a big way this past year and a half or so, what I remembered this year with everything going on, it reminded me of like when I was a kid in a broken family. Parents hated each other, hated my parents, and I was just starting Blink as a punk rock band, and skateboarding was like my life. And every time I got on the skateboard, you felt the vibration of the street through the board, and you felt the wind, and you have that inner ear thing where there's motion. And the faster you went, the further away from home you got, and then everything kind of disappeared behind you. The motorcycle is the first thing that reminds me of learning how to skateboard. It's the first thing that reminds me of that freedom, of feeling that motion, of feeling like, you're flying a bit. And it's been like an absolutely wonderful way for me just to get on and go up the coast and get away from some of the things that I'm dealing with. I've always wanted to get into it in a big way, but I never thought I would like it this much, It's like anything else that people get into, that they go, surfing or something, or, once you get into it and do it and understand it, then you realize what people have been talking about.
All that we are, holding on until we fall.